All right, let's go. Let's go. Okay, let's start. I'm in gold. Sometimes I meet black people in my games, and there's a ton of silver. My main account is in GM. I'm sure it is. What in holy Hanzo's name was that McCree doing all game? No way someone that bad deserves to be in diamond. Actually, like I said pretty much at the end of the other video, the way he was playing will work in gold and work in platinum, and it will stop kind of working in diamond. What he's doing is, if the enemy team is like all positioned here, right? Let's put this red to work, and then like your team is all positioned here. And he goes, and let's use a green. And he like continually goes on these cute flanks, and no one on the enemy team's really paying attention. They're all super busy just focusing on like the front. He's gonna actually get a lot of value off doing this. The problem is when the enemy team starts paying attention, when they start listening, and so instead of just being aware and like, you know, having a Metal Gear Solid cone of vision in one direction, what they're going to end up having is it's more like a Metal Gear Solid 4 aura of awareness, where they're actually aware in this area when the McCree starts footstepping. The Zenyatta goes, hang on, I can hear spurs, what the fuck? And then they turn Discord and just ching 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 dead, and it's like, oh, this McCree's done nothing all game. And so that's where understanding the fundamentals and understanding that in that team lineup you had a pharmacy. Pharmacy is so much better at doing these kind of cute flanks. Pharmacy is so strong at just like taking a little bit of initiative, finding an angle, and just raining rockets down while the rest of the team, with a McCree, for example, pushes in on the front. And like McCree D.Va, with the new D.Va, like that's a lot of damage. And you got a pharmacy raining rockets in from the side. Holy shit, this team is going to be under huge amounts of pressure. So it's like, it's a weird thing of like the Pharah was stuck in the team, and the McCree was going on flanks, which is completely wrong. And this is why I say take a look at your team lineup and think about your role in that team and how to apply your hero best in that team lineup. Is like the first thing you should do in any game is look at your team lineup and go, okay, well, we have pharmacy. So pharmacy is going to be doing its own thing for quite often, for quite a lot. That means that if my team has like a Reinhardt and a Zenyatta and has like a core to it, or a Reinhardt and a Lucio, like that core, I need to be with that core. Because if I then wander off, then we've got a pharmacy wandering off, we've got me wandering off, and then you've got like this core with no DPS, and suddenly no one's really doing anything, and the enemy team just goes, well, we'll kill this first, and then we'll kill this first, and then we'll kill this, and they win. So you've got to sort of fit yourself in that role. That McCree didn't do that, and was just like running around, trying to flank, trying to flash from fan, and then got nothing done. Sucks to be them. Similar to the D.Va boost in Mecha Bomb Inquiry, I also wondered, is boosting torp surrender this turret? Apparently not. I didn't think it did either. The thing with the torp turret is it's considered its own separate entity, and I imagine the same will be true for D.Va. That the D.Va bomb is its own entity, it isn't an ability used by D.Va, it's its own thing, the mech, therefore you can't damage amp it. How do you react to an ulting Mercy? Very good question. With terror. No. You either try and like explode people. Like the thing with Mercy ult is it's a lot scarier seeming than it actually is, which is a weird thing to say. So let me explain it. Let me sip my coffee and then I'll explain that statement because it's a bold one. Consider what Mercy ult actually does. She can now apply, and it's about 50, technically it's like 54, 55 heal per second. So 54 HPS. Let's actually use a color that's legible on this background. Onto several targets at once. Usually not everyone, but you can get quite a lot of people with it. Alternatively, you can provide a 25% damage amp. We just say plus 25%. To a number of people, and she can res every 10 seconds. And you'll usually start with 2 people. The big factor, like the huge factor in this, is this last one. Like the 10-second res is the really crucial thing. The healing is annoying and it's a problem, and it makes it very difficult to kill targets, but if everyone's still focusing properly, you can generally just blow stuff up still. And so my advice is this: if a Mercy Valkyrie's, okay, if you haven't committed, like this is why I think Valkyrie as well is a mid-fight sort of ability, because if you use it right at the start of a fight, then the enemy team can just back away. And you just go, okay, fair enough, whatever. And you just leave. It's like, and the Mercy just goes, oops. And then she doesn't get to do anything. If you use it in the middle of the fight, then suddenly it's like, oh shit. First thing you should try and do is kill the Mercy. The first thing that Mercy will do pretty frequently with Valkyrie is she'll fly straight up. And she will be like, oh, look at me, I'm Mercy, woo! oh, I have wings. Ah, I'm flying in the sky. Look at me, look at me, look at me. If you're Soldier 76, you press Q and you hold left mouse button and do dead. If a lot of people all shoot her, she will die. She does regenerate, but if everyone just, she's got 200 hit points. Doesn't matter how much you regen, she will die. So especially if you're hit scan, try and shoot her, try and hit her with something. Because if you can blow her up, like this is the thing with Valkyrie, is it is very possible, and Valkyrie is one of the few support ultimates where it's possible to just completely whiff it, activate it, and just instantly die. Transcendence, you can't do it, like you have to be knocked off. Sound barrier, you can kind of do it, but it, you know, before you touch the ground. On the PTR at the moment, which is very much worth talking about, on the PTR at the moment, when you press Q, all your ultimate charge vanishes. That includes Lucio when he jumps, doesn't actually get the sound barrier out. If he dies right now on PTR, he actually loses his ultimate, which a lot of people consider the death is one thing, but like flashbang stun would stop the ultimate coming out as well. Earth Shadow would stop it, and a lot of people consider that to be unfair. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works with Lucio. They might have to adjust the timing when the ultimate depletes, stuff like that. Because you can't like cancel sound barriers anymore, or you can't have your sound barrier cancelled and then still have it on PTR at the moment. But with Valkyrie, it's like you can activate it in the target and you just die. Anna can kind of do the same, where you nano boost someone and they just die, and that's the worst feeling in the world. So try and force that. Otherwise, it's just a matter of like you just gotta kill as many people as possible. If you are just stuck in a team fight, just kill. Use a support ultimate of your own to counter it. Use maybe an offensive ultimate to try and counter the Mercy. What I would say is, with the good players that I've seen playing, like I've watched some Cruz, I watched some Chipsa, watching them trying to deal with Valkyries, what I've learned is that Dragonblade is not great at it. The problem with Dragonblade is that Mercy Guardian Angel speed goes so fast that the Mercy will GA, or like you'll activate Dragonblade, you'll take a swing, you'll Guardian Angel away, you'll follow, and then she'll Guardian Angel again, and the regen is enough where it takes like 3 swings to kill her. So she's actually going to be able to survive it, because you don't have a second dash to follow a second time, and so she's going to get away. Which is sort of a problem. Or she will just go straight up after that, and you won't be able to follow her very well. So it's very difficult to sort of get the finish on her with a Genji. Soldier is extremely good at it, Deadeye is extremely good at it, Junkrat is extremely good at it with the Tyre. Tyre's destroy Mercy. Beyond that, it's difficult. I'd say that if you are playing like Zen or Lucio, especially Lucio, do not be afraid to sound barrier at that point. Or sound barrier like a little bit further into the fight. Not much a question, but thoughts on nerfing everyone's ults? Are you referring to the PTR? No point in me asking this, I guess, but are you referring to the PTR patch, or are you referring to the concept in question? Because there is a theory in Overwatch of like ultimates are just too strong. There is like there is a thought process that ultimates determine too much of how the game is played, and so therefore if you nerf all the ultimates, then you make the game more skill oriented by just regular moment to moment play. What I would say is that kind of Overwatch to me is a game all about the moment. It's about the team fight in the moment. Like the play of the game system encapsulates this beautifully. Overwatch, I imagine somewhere in the design document, the idea of the moment is huge, and what I mean by the moment is that moment where Zarya gets a grab and you put a perfect barrage in it, and it's like, oh my god, we just did this really cool thing, we won the team fight. And then Mercy swoops in and gets a res on all of them, and then it's like, oh my god, the Mercy did this huge thing, or used to be. Like, oh my god, this thing happened, and it was really cool, and I want to share it with all my friends. That's what Overwatch is about, and the ultimates give you those huge influxes of power that give you those moments. The scary part is that you need ultimates usually to beat ultimates, and so the game sort of becomes this economy-focused thing. I quite like that. I quite like the tactics involved in it, so I will be against nerfing everyone's ults. If you're referring to the PTR change, if you're not aware right now, if you have like full ultimate, let's use. If I use yellow, it just blends in. Let's use pink. So if you have an ultimate, let's pretend this is the full ultimate wheel, it depletes, or it goes the other way. It depletes down towards 0 in about a second. It takes like a second for it to go down. So this means if you're Soldier 76 and you go, I've got you in my sights. If he doesn't, like a good rule of thumb is if he doesn't finish the voice line, he's going to have some ult charge left. So if he gets halfway through the ultimate charge, he's going to have about 50% of his ult charge left over. And so what you end up learning is like, and this is like the case for Lucio. Lucio doesn't lose his sound barrier until he touches the floor. But now when you press Q, it just all depletes. Instantly. It's just all gone. And the same with Genji. If Genji draws his Dragon Blade, it just instantly goes to 0. And if you flashbang him when he's drawing his blade, he just loses it. It's insane. That I'm less happy on. I think they need to be careful with having, like, the ultimate should be a big thing and shouldn't be like, oh, well, McCree just got lucky with a flashbang and therefore you don't get to do that anymore. I think that kind of sucks, and that will feel very deflating. Is New Mercy a good solo healer? Yes, probably the best one at it, because of the res. Like, again, this graph is super important. This graph is super important. Hit points and time. Terrible M. So your team's hit points will start like here, and then as you go into a fight, it will do this, and it will do this, and it will do this, and do. It'll drop and drop and drop and drop. And the idea of healing is that you're trying to sort of keep it, and it's going to go down, but then you're going to sort of make it an equilibrium, and it's going to go down, you're going to try and bring it back up, and that sort of thing. The thing with res is that when this goes down and someone dies, you get this instantaneous, sorry, this graph will be a straight line, and you're back up. And so this is huge. This is enormous. Because this is not only hit points coming into the fight, this is, you could do the same with damage. So if I make yellow and I go damage, in Overwatch, you don't lose, so let me just draw this under this graph. In Overwatch, you don't lose damage as you take damage. So a Soldier 76 on 200 hit points does the same damage as a Soldier 76 on 1 hit point. But then it goes down when he dies. So Soldier 76 has died, and then he gets rezzed, and then so a second later, he's back in, and so the damage is back up. And this is a very, very important idea. The fact that you have these big swings in hit points and damage output of your team is huge. Because what happens if you don't have these, if you don't have Mercy, if I erase this, is going to remove everything, no, good. If you don't have Mercy, what's going to happen is hit points goes down, and then it stays down. And it might not go down quite as fast, maybe, oh fuck, if you have like an Ana, very quickly, we can redraw it, and like, this is how I think in graphs, I'm sorry. It might not go down quite as quickly in the fight, but it's just going to keep on going down. And you might be able to do something like, you know, if you have Ana, suddenly you can equilibrium the healing because you have a heal grenade. Or if you have a Zenyatta, then it's going to like zoom back up because, you know, let's say no one died and you trance, then that's huge. But you're not going to have that instantaneous kick. And so damage might be a case of like, well, someone dies here, and then you've permanently lost that damage. Someone dies here, someone dies here, and whatever. And you get the idea. It goes down and down and down and down, and like a staircase. Well, with Mercy, it comes back up. And that's big. That's really big. And so that's why Mercy as a solo healer is so powerful. Because if someone goes down, you just pick them back up. And she's also evasive. She's decent survivability, that kind of stuff. Ray of Light, thank you so much. Really 8 month. Really 8 month indeed. Yeah, that's right. I think you missed like resubs or something and whatever. 8 months. It's appreciated no matter what, trust me. Any tips on shooting and ulting Mercy? My aim isn't that good, but I find a hitbox impossible. Yes. The weird thing is understanding that her model when flying, the wings are distracting, so, like, let me trace Mercy. Okay, like, she's clapping, so let's do the clap. Okay, and then she's got, like, a body here, she's got that booty, and then she's got legs. Okay, so this is Mercy. So when she's ulting, she has these huge fucking wings. Oh my god, they're enormous. Oh, this is so distracting. Don't shoot these. Don't shoot those. Her legs also don't go straight down anymore. She like sits, like a sitting thing, right? She like sits down like this, okay? Like, okay, now she looks like she's potting, but you get the idea. She's got a halo as well. So don't shoot the wings. And honestly, try and just aim for dead center. She's very thin as well. Mercy has a slender figure. So you can see that she's actually very, very narrow. Makes her very difficult to hit. Anyone who's played a lot of Tracer knows that Mercy's actually quite difficult to kill. So yeah, be very, very like thoughtful when you're aiming. Understand that she's going to fly and she's going to probably move in circles. Like most Mercies I've seen move in circles. They go up and down and up and down and up. So you can just sort of try and anticipate that, but you're mostly just looking to do consistent damage to her as well. Because you want to cancel out the healing and then you just want to nail her with some burst. So as long as someone is doing consistent damage at some point to her, everyone else can just finish her off. So if everyone's just doing consistent damage, then she's gonna die. The worst thing you can do is like you can chunk her and then you leave her and then you chunk her and then you leave her and then you chunk her, and like Hanzo would be fucking awful against it because Hanzo just like hits and then it's just like, yeah, she's healed up. Widowmaker is kind of the same, but Widowmaker can hit her more reliably. So the idea with Widowmaker is you just body shot, and she's gonna die. Or you body shot and then someone can finish her off easily. And you could just keep body shotting her because she's your hit scan, she's generally flying around. How does res impact the flow of team fights? So the graphs, I think, did that admirably. So am I right to think most comps, including New Mercy, should play more aggressive than the non-Mercy, including counterparts? Absolutely. You're basically playing with 7 heroes when you're playing New Mercy. And the annoying part to me is that there's no downside to playing Mercy anymore. That's sort of the annoying part, is there is no reason in my mind where you should be picking like, the only time you should be picking Zenyatta above Mercy is when you're playing like a super aggro dive team, and even then, the Mercy can probably follow it and still do okay, but the Zen might be doing slightly better, because Discord is just better with dive. Ana maybe on a super tank comp, but Mercy's still fucking great at healing tanks, so there's no downside, I guess, to bringing the Mercy anymore. Whereas before, you used to, like, Mercy's value on your team was weird, because it was like, it was at a certain level, and then she has res, and the weird part is this, so value. I'll put an E in there, but it will leak onto the graph. That annoys me. When she has res, so ult comes online, so we'll call this TU. At TU, her value to you as a team drops until people die, and then suddenly it goes fucking astronomical. And it was this moment where, like, a good Mercy and a bad Mercy, all the distinctions were made. And how they acted and made decisions in this time. Because the Mercy's going to be hiding, she's going to be playing super defensively, she does not want to die, because if she dies, then her value hits 0. So she's super, super scared and playing in this time. And that, to me, is the scary part with old Mercy being having like a weakness, is how they act and play in this period. And this period is very exploitable, because what ends up happening is if not enough people die, this sort of peak here never quite gets above, and so she never actually does anything, and so her value stays low, and she doesn't actually do much, and then like one person dies, and then the fight drags on, and then another person dies, and the fight drags on, and then another person dies, the fight drags on, and she ends up not doing much. And so it's like, well, okay, we could have just had a Zenyatta that would just fucking kill people. Like, that'd be way more value. So, yeah, New Mercy doesn't have this sync anymore. Instead, New Mercy has, like, she'll use res, and like let's get rid of TU as well, because TU is not relevant to this now. So she'll have high value, and then she'll use res, and her value drops, but she's still, like, more value than what would be before. Like, before she'd be down here, but now she's about here, and then when she has ultimate, her value just shoots right back up again, and, like, is even higher than before, because she's actually being active and proactive and doing things. So Mercy's just a lot more powerful now. What do you think Ana is? Does she need a buff? I don't think so. She might need something, but honestly, like, Ana has been always accused of having an overstacked kit. It's just the meta has swung away from her. Mercy Ana on a tank lineup would be insane. It's just that Lucio is so good with speed boost. So speed boost is sort of the core problem, where it is very hard to outvalue speed boost, and now it's also very hard to outvalue res. Therefore, Zenyatta and Lucio are in trouble. This is more by virtue of speed boost being unique, res being unique. And, like, they're both such powerful abilities that it's very difficult to sort of play around them. I've begun to notice that there's not always a Mercy main in my games. I don't main supports exclusively, but is it worth picking up Mercy in your opinion for next season? Yes, currently it is worth picking up Mercy. There's zero doubt in my mind about that. I don't too much as Zarya. Any generic suggestions? Play more carefully when you don't have your barriers. Make sure that you are using your shields. So Zarya has 200 hit points. So if I draw it as red, you have 200 hit points and you have 200 shields. The cool thing about shields is that if you lose them, they come back. So make sure you're starting every fight with 200 shields. And then make sure that, you know, you are bothering your healers when you've actually taken meat damage. When you're building, be more liberal with your barriers, get to a high charge, play back, wait for your cooldowns to come off, and then you can start doing things. Don't try and make plays or do stuff aggressively without your barriers. That's when you retreat, that's when you hide behind your main tank, and that's when you sort of regroup. We talked about people who deserve to be ignored by supports. So how much of ignoring them is ignoring them? Not GA to them if I can. Let them come to me, just erase them from my screen. If they start coming back to you and, like, let me put it this way: if they start making right decisions and they start, like, hanging around the team, then sure, support them. But what you want, and you can even go on a voice comment and say, like, and just spell out to them, like, if you're going to do these flanks, I'm not going to follow you. Like, I can't follow that. I cannot support that. You are on your own. If you die, I can't res it. because you're too far out of position. It will get me killed as well, and that's too much of a loss. And so you can just go and explain that stuff, and it's like, some people will be understanding, some people, you know, I think every time I've explained something to someone like that, they generally go, okay, or like, I wasn't expecting you to follow anyway. There's like a preconceived notion that a lot of supports put in their own heads more than anything, of like, I must support everyone. Not the case at all, not true at all. So yeah, it's like, just don't follow them when they're doing stupid shit. Like, just get out of your head that you have to support everyone. If they are doing something stupid and out of position, you don't have to commit to that. Don't let them drag you to death, because then you're compounding a mistake with a mistake, and that's bad. Should a Valkyrie be treated with the same respect as a Molten Core if you can't kill the Mercy? Back off. If you can back off, back off. Like, it's the same as a Sound Barrier, same as a Transcendence. If at the start of a fight, Zenyatta just presses Q, and your team can just stop and engage, just back off. Very strong. But, like, if you are in a fight and people are fighting, keep fighting. Don't just run away. Because the difference between Molten Core and Valkyrie is that Valkyrie can chase you, Molten Core can't. Before Mercy was better being second, third kill in the enemy party. Where in kill priority we replace new Mercy. Number 1. Almost universally number 1. Especially with ultimates, if you're trying to get pulse bombs and stuff, absolutely number 1. If she has res up, any kill you get is going to usually be nullified by the res. So then this value changes. Like, after she's res and she doesn't have it, like 30 seconds is a long time. You can generally get a kill between reses, so you can generally try and get something done. But if she has not res in a while and you're just like engaging dry, Mercy is very, very high prior. Very high prior. If you can get her, get her. If she's being super evasive, super cagey, hiding and getting covered by everyone, you might want to go and kill her Zenyatta instead, and then she has to res the Zen. Then you can kill the Mercy. Then you sort of bait the Mercy by killing the Zen, because she's the tasty res, and it's like, oh no, I'm dead. And she sees the symbol, and it's like counting down. It's like, oh no, and then Mercy flies in, and then you kill both of them, and it's hilarious. But in general, Mercy is very high priority now. Like, it's similar to how it was before, where if you haven't seen Mercy res, you've got to get... It's actually weird, because Mercy with ult before I would call higher prior than Mercy now. Because if you win a team fight with old Mercy, she just picks everyone back up. If you win a team fight with new Mercy, it's like she can res 2 people. Okay, 3 versus 6, lol. So yeah. Any tips to shut down Mercy? Should you save 76 ultimate like how Zen saves Genji Blade? Yes. So 76 ultimate is really good for it. Yeah, like 76 ultimate is one of the best for it. Deadeye is also extremely good. I wouldn't say like save. Like, the thing is this: if you use a 76 ultimate and then just kill someone and then she ults, you can generally just punish the Mercy if she's trying to res. Like, 76 ultimate creates this zone of pressure that the Mercy she can't fuck around in it anymore, and so she can't actually go and res people because she flies into your line of sight and you just hold left mouse button and kill her. So yeah. My hands are mains in bronze, but I can't climb because of my team. Kappa, you are where you belong. Congratulations. What exactly do you do with Valkyrie? The obvious double res, but other than that, you heal your brains out, and if everyone is on full health, you provide damage amps to as many people as possible. Like, Valkyrie is like a mini Transcendence. So you just put out tons of healing, and tons of healing. If you, like, you can also help finish targets off if they're on high ground, especially, and difficult for your team to reach. You can just pull out the gun and blast them down. A couple of shots, pap, you know, the tin goes scrap, pap, 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 pap. They just, boom, 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 boom. They just go, and you can just kill stuff with it as well. Like, you can do a lot with Valkyrie. It's very, very fucking difficult to, like, I would say, like, getting your Valkyrie 100% tip-top perfect is going to be difficult. In general, focus on healing, provide damage amp where possible, and then tertiary finish targets off with the gun, and then res every cooldown to get as many as possible. In terms of offensive, defensive supporting, where does the new Mercy fall? She's good at both, is the bottom line. On offense, like, the worst thing that can happen is you're playing Temple of Anubis and you're getting ready to push, and then Hanzo fires an arrow and it kills your McCree, and then you go, oh well, shit. You can't do anything for 30 seconds, but now Mercy goes, heroes never die, and then McCree's back, and then you run in and you kill them all on the enemy team. Like, that's really powerful. So yeah. How does res work with cool? So yeah, both. How does res work with cooldowns exactly? In general, I think it works just like a respawn, so you just come back with fresh cooldowns, except for some heroes. I think Mercy, they made it so that when Mercy leaves spawn, she doesn't get a cooldown refresh, and so that's pretty powerful. So, like, if a Mercy somehow res the Mercy, she won't be able to just res again instantly. So you won't have two Mercies just resing each other. It would be hilarious. And frustrating. Yeah, in general, like, a lot of heroes just come back with all the cooldowns refreshed. And, like, the thing with Reinhardt is, I think, if you res Reinhardt, he comes back with with full barrier, 100% barrier. Really powerful. And unless you mean with cooldowns exactly in terms of her ultimate just refreshes it. So you press Q, you have a 30-second cooldown unless you ult, and then in which case you get 10-second cooldowns, and then every ult you use while Valkyrie is up gives you a 10-second cooldown. How to decide following the Pharah versus staying with the rest of the team? It depends on what other healer you have. If your team is like relatively tanky for some reason and you're still running pharmacy, you might have to peel back to help support, and you have it like a Zen for the other healer, you might have to peel off a little bit more. It also depends on how good the Pharah is, how the Pharah plays, how much you can leave them alone. Like, there's a ton of decision making that goes into that, so it's not like one hard and fast rule. What I would try and look for is how much work is this Pharah actually getting done. If the Pharah is fragging out and they don't have enemy team doesn't have a strong counter to it, like just one Soldier 76 for example, and no Zenyatta, sure, like, support the shit out of that Pharah and she can probably clean the enemy team up all on her own. But in general, like, if like a Lucio supporting the rest of your team, you could be a bit more liberal because Amp It Up is enough to heal tanks. Anna healing the rest of your team, you can absolutely just hang around with the Pharah as much as possible. Just find as much damage amp as possible. The Pharah does do, like, if the Pharah is Valkyrie and Valk loves fucking diving in and over and going super, super deep, it's actually better now. Like, you can actually follow the Pharah and res her, and then you can try and get out with them, but quite often, basically what will happen is you'll trade with a target. And then you might even get a second target, the Pharah, and then usually the Pharah will die. Like, something else will kill the Pharah. And so, like, you trade 2 for 1, and in which case the Pharah might be suiciding. And then if you follow and you also die, Pharah is dead, then you follow and you're Mercy, so you also die. Then that's really bad. So it's sort of this case of, like, how does the Pharah play as well? Do they just spam with rockets for ages and just, like, hope to get a couple of direct hits? Well, then actually Mercy supporting it was easy and it's powerful. If they are super aggro divey, then it's a little bit trickier. Is a good counter to the standard Mercy Death Ball? Is Dive a good counter to a standard Mercy Death Ball? Remains to be seen. I think maybe is the answer, is the best answer I can give you. The problem is, like, running Tracer Soldier instead of running Tracer Genji might work a lot better. Because the Soldier gives you something extra to do about Valkyrie. But yeah, there you go. Today's the day I catch an stream. Congratulations, you're in time for Q&A. We'll take a couple more questions because I've been answering them for a good while and I'm still only like 10 minutes in, so people have a lot of fucking questions apparently. I'm playing and I discovered no one is using my Rhine Shield. Ideal tank goes to switch to spam comp for solo tanking. Winston isn't too bad. If you're playing like a really spammy comp, yeah, I'd say Winston still probably works best. Reinhardt, like, are against a spam comp. Diva used to be the answer, might not be now. Zarya might not be too bad. Mercy's kind of everyman support, so people pick her kind of everywhere. Comp is Mercy bad in pure dive. Like Genji, Tracer, Winston, Diva, Lucio. Like, what is the Mercy amping? What is the Mercy healing? She's going to sort of be pulled along with the team, and then she's going to have very, like, Mercy works best when the team is, like, got a big element here and a big element here, and she can just freely bounce between, and, like, jump between two spaces. So, like, you usually have, like, a back line with, like, a 76, and, you know, you might have a Zen back here, and then you have a front line with, like, a Rhine and a Junkrat or something. And so Mercy can, like, very easily bounce between these. And, like, you might have a Diva doing the same. Like, Diva's very good at, like, doing this as well. So you can very easily just bounce between them. Mercy's very good at that. She's weaker when, like, the idea behind a dive is you have, like, your Zen will be here in the back, usually out of line of sight. And then, like, the whole rest of the team will be on top of something. You might have, like, the Diva protecting the Zen. Did not use yellow here. You'll have the Diva protecting the Zen. And then the Mercy kind of has to just follow this in. And it's very difficult to sort of bounce between these two safely. So I'd say that's about it, really. So yeah. Nano Angel thing, not anymore. They're just better targets for it. Do you think 20 seconds of Valkyrie is too long? I would not be able to make a conclusion without the data. Maybe. Like, maybe the 10-second res is the problem. Maybe having 10-second res is just too much. Maybe having it at 15-second. So you get 2 res instead of 3 bonus. That might be better. Who knows? Like, the thing with new Valkyries, they have a lot of things they can tweak if they do think it's too powerful. Therefore, they can make it weaker if they need to. They can make it stronger. Heaven forbid they need to. They have a lot of ways they can sort of fiddle with it. They can change the flight speed. They can change her regen. So if survivability or taking her out is the issue, there's ways to change that. If she's just too powerful, if she's healing too much, they can change the tether range on the heal, for example. They can change the speed that she Guardian Angels. They can change her healing rate if she's healing multiple people. So imagine if she just did 50 hit point, if she just did like a 55 hit point per second or whatever it is, HPS. But it's, so if you're hitting 1 target, then it's healing for this. If you hit 2, then it's doing 28 on both. And so it is actually like splitting the beam. So it's like even healing across the map. Like they can do stuff like this, or just make it like 40 heals. And then if you go into a like 3-person split, then it's 30 heals. Like they can easily fiddle with stuff like this. Thank you, by the way, to the sub. Wanted to finish my point. Bullet 1892, 7 months. Beautiful. Lovely, lovely, lovely. So, my question necessarily isn't like, my response isn't necessarily like, oh, well, I think they should change this balance thing. It's more, how do we deal with it as it is now? And then let Blizzard sort that out, basically. Because right now, I would say it is very knee-jerk to go, oh my god, the new Mercy is super overpowered. My instincts tell me, and like this is purely instinctual and shouldn't be used for anything other than a small reference point, or oh, this is kind of interesting. I think the Mercy is overpowered, and the reason I think that is simple. She has had a very fundamental change to her kit, but everyone thinks that like everyone feels powerful still playing her. And usually what ends up happening is if a change is on the same level, you will end up feeling a lot weaker while you learn how the new change is implemented and how it works, and how it functions. So the fact that everyone's like, oh my god, she's really good, it's like, that's a sign that she might be a bit overpowered. Res no longer gives you invince, yeah. This is another thing that people I think just need to learn, basically, is that gold and shiny Mercy isn't invincible, so just shoot it. Also on the Devo rework, my rhythm is off with that, like this is more normal behavior. This is more normal with the new stuff. This is a good question to end on as well, because we've been running questions for a while. Also on the Diva rework, my rhythm is off with her. Some moments I think I'm getting her, and then the next round I'm doing less than nothing. What is her role now? She can't really tank or DPS. What is my purpose now? Like, this is more normal. This is like what the Roadhog players were feeling when Roadhog was changed, and now Roadhog's creeping back in with the healing change that he's got, with the buff to that, and he's like, he occupies a different position, but he still does things. And like people go, oh, wait, this hero exists still. Reaper kind of had the same. Like, he dropped out for a while, and then he suddenly, like, crept back in with a couple of tweaks. Diva might need a couple of tweaks. Diva might still need a couple of tweaks, but she's in a better position than she used to be. What I would say is this. The key to understanding new Diva, and let me move chat to one side, and the key to understanding new Diva, in my mind, is understanding that you can do things while you are defense matrixing now. You can't do much, but you can do something. So previously, with old Diva, if you held right mouse button, you couldn't actually do anything. You were just stuck holding right mouse button. This is important because it means that if you are engaging on something and you hold it in the defense matrix, all you can do is like hope that someone else deals with it. I sure hope someone shoots this training bot before I lose defense matrix. What you can do now is, while we wait for it to regenerate, there we go, is now I can do this and I can rocket the target. So that when my defense matrix runs out, I can just finish it. Now, it's very rare that you're going to do the full damage, like the full 160 kind of damage it does. But, let's see. No, not even 160, like 125, 120-ish. I'm sure someone knows the exact numbers out there. Doesn't really matter to know the exact numbers. The reality is this, you're going to do about 80 to 100 damage. Which means that if you do a little bit of that and a drive into the target, you're probably going to be able to kill them. What this also means is that if you are diving in, Like, let's say that I have a Winston with me, and this is an Ana, and this is where I think it's super powerful. If you're diving in, you put the Matrix on the target, and you just rocket them, and then you gun them down. That Ana can't grenade herself. The extra damage from the Winston is enough to just kill it before your rocket barrage ends. Like, there are so many things dealing damage at that moment, and the target can't do anything, that it's really powerful. So what I would say is D.Va is a couple of things now. First, she is still... Defense Matrix is still good, especially against projectiles, because the thing with projectiles is this: if they cross the defense matrix at any point, you delete them still. So you don't actually need to have a long period of defense matrix to eat up a lot of damage from projectiles. Like, you can still scoop up a respectable amount of hurt from a projectile. And especially if they're shooting towards you, like in this example, they're flying straight across, but of course there's more time traveling this way. So if I just eat these shots and just keep tapping right mouse button, I can actually catch a lot of these, because if there's a whole bunch of shots, if there's say 3 shots in the defense matrix, I just delete them instantly, and therefore they're gone. Meanwhile with hit scan, it's like the moment I press left click, like I have to have defense matrix up at that time. Well, I can bring defense matrix up at any time during this to catch these. The defense matrix is still good. It's still a good, powerful ability. It's just much harder to use. She still can sort of provide that. She's still very good against stuff she was good against before. Junkrat is especially vulnerable to D.Va, because like I said, it's easy to just see the grenades bouncing and just go whoop and scoop them all up. No problem. And she's still like durable against those kind of heroes as well. The issue is that she no longer can just like hold them down for ages, and she very much struggles. And to me, like, the misleading thing is this: the last thing you want to do as D.Va is engage in a hero 1 versus 1 when the hero's on full hit points, because you can fly and deal damage, and like you deal quite a lot of damage, to be honest. But there's usually enough time for the enemy hero to react. Like, at medium range, this takes a little while, and there's usually enough time for them to react, to do something, supports react, provide healing, that kind of stuff. So where D.Va really excels in my mind is when a hero's like this, you know, when they're on 70 hit points or 100 hit points. It's so easy to just like fly at them, gun them, and rocket them, and you can just clean them up super easily, and then you can generally just try and back out. D.Va's very, very good at that. D.Va Bomb is complicated, but the best way to use D.Va Bomb in my mind is if the enemy team engages with a sound barrier and you just drop the bomb. They can't engage with the sound barrier anymore, therefore you've negated a powerful support ultimate by just using an ultimate that is moderate value anyway. So that's how I picture the bomb. That's how I best see the bomb being used. She's okay. She's just not as strong as she used to be, like by a long fucking shot, and that's going to be a surprise for some people. Maybe she needs a buff. Maybe she does, but she's just different. She's very, very different, and because dive is sort of dropped out, just due to Mercy being so prevalent, like, she's sort of dropped out. If dive comes back in, new D.Va's insanely powerful and will be extremely frustrating for supports. More frustrating than she used to be. Because you literally can't do anything, because she's just done this to you, and she's just like tried to fly into you, and she's done a shitload of damage, put Matrix on you, and just killed you. The entry, pretty huge. Right, that is where I'm going to stop answering questions. We did a whole bunch, even though there's tons of questions, tons and tons of chat. Oh my god, oh my god. Right, thank you for watching. If you want to send in your footage, please feel free to do so. Absolutely feel free to do so. Send it into oamreviews@gmail.com. Include the hero name and the rank, plus a little description about the game, and include a YouTube link, of course, to the game so I can watch it. And yeah, just go from there, basically. If you are on the fence about, should I send it in, shouldn't I send it in? General advice I give is don't send in footage of a hero, and like if it's been done recently. My advice at this point is avoid sending in Tracer footage, because we did Tracer yesterday. But don't be afraid to send in some new Mercy footage. Like, we're still learning it. I'm still learning it. I still need to learn a lot about new Mercy. So yeah. Could you do one on Genji and Diamond? Did someone send in some Genji and Diamond? Sure. I've done a lot of Genjis around Diamond level, actually, I think. Anyway. Otherwise, yeah, thank you for watching to the end of the coaching video. I'm going to go play some Overwatch in a second or two, but if those of you watching on YouTube, thank you for watching to the end. Thank you for hanging out, and I'll see you guys soon. Toodles.